Gary drove along a narrow country road late at night. His eyes felt heavy, and the darkness outside seemed endless. He had not seen any cars for hours. The only sounds were the hum of his engine and the crazy noises in his head. With no gas station in sight, he kept checking the fuel gauge, hoping it would last long enough for him to reach the next town. But it didn't. The car sputtered twice, then it came to a quiet stop in front of an old abandoned church. The building stood crooked with a broken roof and shattered windows. Gary let out a tired breath. Great, just great. He stepped out, shivering in the cold air. He tried calling for assistance, but no answer. He got back into the car and wrapped a heavy coat around himself to keep warm. There was nothing he could do until morning. He slowly drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, a sharp knock on the window jolted him awake. His eyes opened wide as he looked around. Outside stood an old lady in a black dress. Her face was pale, wrinkled, her eyes small but bright under the moonlight. Her grey hair was pinned neatly, though a few strands shook in the breeze. Gary rolled the window down halfway. Hello. Are you all right, young man? She asked. You'll freeze out here. I ran out of gas. I was waiting for daylight, Gary said. You can sleep at my house, the woman said. It's warm. It's just behind the church. Gary felt relieved. He didn't like the idea of going to a stranger's house, especially in the middle of nowhere. But the night was so cold, and she looked harmless. What's your name? He asked. Rosemary, she said with a gentle smile. Don't worry, you'll be warm and safe. Thank you, my name is Gary. I'll leave at sunrise. They walked toward the back of the church. Gary had to watch his steps because the ground was uneven. Behind the church was a narrow path leading to a small wooden house. The house looked centuries old, but well kept. A soft yellow light glowed through some of the windows. Inside it looked older, almost like no one had lived there in years. The air was warm and smelled of old wood and lavender. Rosemary lit a few candles, placing them on a table. Sit down, you must be tired, she said. Gary sat while Rosemary heated water over the fireplace. She handed him a cup of warm tea. He noticed her hands were thin and cold, as if she had been outside much longer than he had. Is that church abandoned? Gary asked. Rosemary nodded. For more than 20 years now. They used to hang witches there, she said. Gary almost dropped the cup. They did what? Oh yes, Rosemary said with a slow nod. This land has a dark past, but it's quiet now. She sat across from him, smoothing her dress. Rosemary began talking about her past. She told him that she was born on a farm nearby and was the daughter of a poor farmer. She married her childhood sweetheart, a hard-working man who died many years ago. We had 2 children. We were so happy. This house, we saved for many years to build it, she said. Gary listened politely, though he felt a strange sadness in her voice. What about you? Rosemary asked. Where were you going so late? Gary put the teacup down. I'm going to the company headquarters to meet with my boss. I think I'm getting fired tomorrow. My sales have been bad. I used to be one of the top salesmen, but things changed. My wife asked for a divorce last year. I'm still trying to adjust. Rosemary's eyes were full of sympathy. We have a 5-year-old son, Gary continued. He just started school. Everything is getting more expensive. I'm afraid I won't be able to support him if I lose my job. His mother doesn't earn much either. Rosemary stood up, walked to a drawer, and returned with a small cloth bag. "Take this," she said. "This will bring you luck." Gary opened it and saw a round charm made from some kind of smooth stone. He smiled awkwardly but gratefully. "Thank you. With the way my life is going, I will need it." Gary put the charm in his coat pocket. "Rest now, you'll need your strength tomorrow," Rosemary said. Gary lay down on a small couch. The fire crackled softly and Rosemary blew out all but one candle. The room dimmed. Within minutes, he fell asleep. When he woke up at dawn, the fire was gone and the candle had melted all the way down. He stood up and stretched. "Rosemary?" he called. There was no answer. He checked the kitchen, the back door, and even stepped outside. The house was silent. He walked back to the car by the church and called for roadside assistance. The man on the phone told him a truck would arrive within an hour. Gary waited inside his car, and before long he fell asleep again. A loud honk woke him. A truck had pulled up next to him. "Do you need any help?" the driver shouted. He filled Gary's tank with a few gallons of gas and drove off. Driving into the city, Gary kept thinking about what he'd say to his boss. He was prepared for what was going to happen, good or bad. Then Gary reached into his coat pocket. The charm was gone. In its place was a small, rough rock. He was confused but didn't think too deeply about it. As soon as he arrived at the office, the boss smiled warmly. "Gary, your leadership has always been strong, and you brought a lot of value to the company. We know you've been having a tough time with sales, so the director and I think it's time we make a change," said the boss. Gary felt a sweat running down his face. "One of our managers resigned yesterday. We want you to take his position," the boss said. Gary couldn't believe it. A promotion to a sales manager with a 25% salary increase. He accepted immediately. All day he felt light, almost lucky. On the long drive home, he thought about Rosemary. He wanted to thank her for her kindness and wanted to tell her about his good fortune. Maybe she had something to do with it. He picked up a bag of freshly picked apples from a local farm, bright red and shiny. "A simple thank you gift," he said to himself. He soon reached the church again. He pulled over and looked around. "That's strange," he thought. The broken roof and windows were still there, but the grass looked overgrown and wild. The path behind the church looked different, wider somehow. He walked toward the back, holding the bag of apples. The ground felt softer, almost spongy. His heart beat faster, though he didn't know why. Then he saw it, a headstone. He stepped closer. His hands were trembling slightly. The stone was old and cracked. Rosemary Richards, 1669 to 1730, hanged at the witch trial. Gary froze. His breath caught in his throat. He took 2 slow steps back, unable to look away. "No, that can't be right," he whispered. He looked around. The apples slipped from his hands and fell to the ground. One rolled into the tall grass. His jaw dropped. Gary turned and ran as fast as he could back to the car. His hands shook. He dropped the keys twice before getting the engine started. The bag of apples was still lying on the ground behind him. Because as far as the eye could see behind the church, nothing but headstones. There was not a single house in that vast graveyard. As he sped down the road, he could think of only one thing: the charm, the rock, the house. Had any of it been real?
Question 1. Where was Gary driving when his car ran out of gas? A. Through a busy city. B. Along a country road late at night. C. On a highway at noon. Two. What building did Gary stop next to when he ran out of gas? A. An abandoned hospital. B. An abandoned school. C. An abandoned church. Three. Who knocked on Gary's car window that night? A. An old lady in black. B. A police officer. C. A lost traveler. Four. What did Rosemary say happened at the church many years ago? A. Weddings. B. Witch hangings. C. Town meetings. Five. What did Rosemary say about her past? A. She grew up on a farm. B. She worked as a nurse. C. She traveled the world. Six. Why was Gary worried about his job? A. He had missed too many days of work. B. He argued with his team. C. He had low sales and thought he would be fired. Seven. What did Rosemary give Gary before he went to sleep? A. A warm blanket. B. A good luck charm. C. A map. Eight. What did Gary find in his coat pocket the next morning? A. A letter. B. Money. C. A piece of rock. Nine. What happened at Gary's job the next day? A. He was fired. B. He was promoted to management. C. He was moved to a different department. 10. What did Gary discover behind the church? A. A large apple farm with many houses. B. Rosemary's new house. C. Hundreds of old headstones, including Rosemary's.
Thanks for watching. Remember